David Toulis.
So you want to know whom I would recommend to vote for on balloting or in balloting tomorrow? Well, the question I have is this. You've got just 5 minutes to give me. And if I have just 5 minutes every time, I'd rather say something else that's more important and that will make you, my listener, a more valuable man or woman. So in a way, it doesn't matter. I just can't get to saying whether it's Bill Lee or Randy Boyd or the Democrat, if Mr. Fitzhugh in the race for governor, or or here in East Ridge, whether it's Esther Hilton or Jonathan Mason with his very nasty mailers and taking the low road. Whom should you vote for? You ask me here, David Toulis. Well, you're the East Ridge radio station. Why don't you talk about East Ridge? Right? That's local economy, right? Well, maybe, but time is short, and I don't want to waste your time with simply saying, well, push this button or mark this little circle tomorrow over that little circle tomorrow with the number 2 pencil. It's not. There's a greater value in the 5 minutes that I've got with you to say something like this. Divest nationally and invest locally. And we're talking about gold and silver, and these are important to have, and they're important to hold as part of your portfolio. You, my listener, have a portfolio, whether you realize it or not. You may not have a lot of dollars in your checking account. You may not own any stock, or maybe you have a mutual fund from T. Rowe Price, perhaps, or Fidelity, and you've got $13,000 in it, or maybe $15,000. And that's kind of all you've got, and it's not a lot. You've got some retirement income coming in, and you're paying your bills, and you're not a very exciting investor, and you've stayed out of the market in dread from 10 years ago when the equities market collapsed, or didn't really collapse. Right? They just had a little dip. They had a minor dip, and the collapse was not allowed to happen. It was forestalled and foreshortened and prevented by the good people in their intervention in the economy. There was a raging fire that was put out. It should have been left to burn, so that all the malinvestment in the economy, all the things that are bought, built, created, invented, paved over, constructed, connected with electricity to, and the like, all these things that come from cheap money would have been burned up. And they should have been burned up because they were not financially stable. They were not economically sound to begin with, and yet they got built, they got invented, they got they got funded because money has been cheap for so long. That's malinvestment in the economy. Where do we go with that? My solution in the 5 minutes I've got with you is this: divest nationally and invest locally. You've got a 401k, take the 15% penalty, take the hit, and get that money here, and think about investing it in yourself. Maybe you have a business idea. Maybe you've been an employee all your life and you're just starved for prospects, and you're scared about your situation in an industry that you seem to understand less and less. Even though you're in it, you are an employee, and of course you're sort of trained not to think of the large picture, but you have made an effort to maintain some sense of the large picture in your field, and you're not sure about your employer. What are you going to do? And I'm not really going to discuss here. I'll let Kevin Cherrick fill you in on the on the side gig. He's the real expert here on that. But divesting nationally means you're taking your hopes away from from Washington, from New York, and the market in debt, treasuries and so on, and corporate debt and other debt. You're saying, I'm not confident that I'll get paid back, that I'll get my principal back with a profit, and I'll be doing better here. So generally, I would say you should be liquefying and liquidating and be more liquid, because in a depression of the kind that Franklin Sanders is proposing, cash is king. And he's making an offer for you. If you want to subscribe, go to themoneychanger.com. That's the-moneychanger.com, the-moneychanger.com. And what's normally $149, if you put in Nougat in the coupon window, it will be a 37% discount. You'll get a terrific monthly printed newsletter. I get digital and print versions myself. $94 a year. It's a real discount. And just type in Nougat for Nougat Radio in the coupon window, and you'll get that discount. $94 in paper money, of course. Franklin is is a very wonderful, honorable trader of gold and silver. His family's been involved in the trading business for people outside of Tennessee for years. You're saying, "Whoa, David, you have a guest on your show who doesn't trade in Tennessee." Well, there's a long story about that, but he refuses to collect sales tax on changes of money. He says there's money is money, and trading money is lawful. And I'm not selling something. I'm trading something, and I'm not collecting a tax. So Franklin will not deal with anybody in Tennessee. So if you're a Tennessean, have someone handle that for you in Georgia or Alabama, or have a way of doing business with Franklin Sanders. We have a global debt bubble of unprecedented size. Every economy in the world is on paper. There is no lawful coin and currency, and the Federal Reserve System, violating our constitutional rights and guarantees, is giving us depreciated paper in paper form and in digital form in ever larger quantities, diminishing the value of that asset. And though, as he points out, we haven't had strongly registering inflation in retail, right? You still there's sharp inflation in burrito, right? If you go to the burrito index run by Charles C. Smith of 2minus.com, you read the burrito index and see how much inflation has hit there. But in many other sectors, it's not sharp. In college expenses, for example, it's hugely inflationary. But most of that new money made by the Fed and the banking system has gone into paper assets, into the stock market. So that market is not tenable, and the system is unreformable. So what is the main point that we want to get from this writer who publishes this newsletter, which is, again, hard money newsletter for gold and silver? Silver will perform 4 times better than gold. He says, so that's something to keep in mind. I've always favored 90% silver. You buy that by the quarter bag, half bag, or full bag. And Rick Davis can help you there. Rick Davis would be glad to trade with you on Brainerd Road. He deals in precious metals all the time, and make sure that you go by Rick Davis and get a quote from him for a bag in which you're trading your paper dollars for a bag of dimes or quarters, sometimes 50-cent pieces. And the bigger the coin, the more the premium is beyond the melt value. Rick Davis. Now, my name is David Toulis, and the main point, I think, from the discussion that we are considering is this. When you divest nationally and invest locally, some of your savings need to go into precious metals. But don't forget this, and I'd say this may be the most important point Franklin Sanders makes, is that money held in silver and gold is not working, right? There's a parable in the scriptures about the servant who, 3 or 4 servants given assets by the owner to go and increase for him in his absence. The wicked servant does not do that. He puts the money in a napkin and buries it. And when you have gold and silver in your portfolio, that's what's happening there. That money is not working in the economy. It's not working. It's savings, and it's stagnant. It does not create new wealth because it's not applying its power, its purchasing power, to people and natural resources. That is where you have new wealth come from, right? It comes from giving a person, like someone invests in you, my listener. He says, okay, you have an idea for a business. It's a mobile car washing business, okay, or a mobile repair business of some kind. Dent removal, and I'm gonna give you $10,000, and I'm investing in you. If the money is in gold and silver, that's not going to happen. But if the money is fungible, meaning usable in today's paper money economy, which banks recognize that banks don't deal in lawful money, they deal in debt instruments. you can have $10,000 come to you, the operator of this new business or the proposer of that new business, and there you are. And then at some point, your investor is going to get his principal back, the $10,000 plus a profit, right? And then you've satisfied him. He may want to invest more with you, or he may want to keep the money with you to see it grow, right? As your business increases, that's creating value. And so if you, my listener, are a man of means, I want you to think about other people who may be listening to this show. Okay. Think about them. Working people, maybe people who have a disadvantaged background. Maybe you could talk with the folks down at Launch Chattanooga. Maybe you've got, maybe you got $500,000 you want to make available to Launch Chattanooga to invest in poor people, right? Poor people need money too. Micro loans, micro investments here in the Chattanooga area. We talked about that with Robbie Holt and Michael Rhodes, the authors of a very important book that's been written with help here in Chattanooga. Robbie Holt is the pastor at North Shore Fellowship. The help I'm referring to in this moment is from Covenant College and the Chalmers Center there, where the ideas of a divine Chalmers, Puritan divine, are brought to life in economic theory, economic practice, where the interest in the gospel interest in that labor is helping the poor, helping the disadvantaged and the oppressed find prosperity, and to not be recipients of charity, not a soup kitchen, but a potluck. That's the idea of practicing the King's economy. The book that we have, you can hear about that at Nuganomics.com. Our chief sponsor here, David Toulis. 800-8949 is the number. 800-8949. Do call me, right? You've got just a minute. Call me now, and let's solve your problem or hear what you have to say. And feel free to change the subject, right? We can get back to these points in the future. 800-8949. Change the subject on me. That's quite all right. I can take it. I can handle it. David Toulis here on the phone. Glad to answer your question or to hear your story. Maybe there's a tale of woe about which we all need to hear. My other listener, right? And me. You, my listener, feel free to call that. Just jot that number down. You can put that number in your phone. The phone that makes you the reporter for this station, right? You, as Marie Mott is saying, the man, the woman with the recording device of tremendous power. You can make audio. You can make video. You can create text on the fly to make notes for your affidavit, right? As you observe some miscreancy, some misdeed, some good deed, perhaps, being done, and you're going to make a record of it because you report and the world decides. You report and the world decides. And we're live on Facebook, on YouTube, on your late model TV. There's a YouTube channel, and you can park your old mother right in the next house in front of her TV, and she can watch David Toulis, the beloved David Toulis with the bow tie. She can pass verdict on my bow tie every day that you hear about at dinner. When you go and check on her, she's going to say, well, David had XYZ bow tie today, and it did not match his green jacket. And you'll just have to let him know for me, right? Your old mom, your old aunt can watch me on TV at YouTube. YouTube, we are 92.7 FM. And we have a digital station, too, by the way, 95.3 FM HD4. So the idea about investing is this. You want to have some of your capital preserved in gold and silver. That's the main argument at the Moneychanger. And Franklin Sanders makes an active market in gold and silver. And he's offering for subscribers this offer. It's a $149 subscription to the Moneychanger newsletter. You get it for only $94 if you just type in Nuga in the coupon window. That's Nuga. And the website for this important newsletter is the-moneychanger.com, the-moneychanger.com. We are in the era of monetary and moral chaos and a global bubble about to pop in an economy which is 100% fiat, government created, government sponsored. You could say economic terrorism, where no one knows anything about the value of his dollar. The dollar has lost about 97%. If you look at the BLS, the Bureau of Labor Statistics, chart, there's a little chart you can use to figure out how much your money's gone down in value in a given time frame, right? Type in $100, select the years, and you can see a $1967 buys this much today in light of inflation. Now, I want to change the subject, and you can change the subject too. This here is Chip Henderson, City Council member.
Councilman Chip Henderson. We were really still debating this issue at our 1:30 strategic planning meeting. I guess my biggest concern is we didn't have it crystal clear to take to the voters, and I wanted to make sure that we completely understood what we were voting on, and so and as well the citizens when they voted. This would not even take effect until 2022. So we have an opportunity in 2020. This same council will have an opportunity in 2020 to get it on the ballot. I felt like we sort of started rushing this, and we just weren't completely ready. I did not feel like to vote on this issue. I think there's some other issues that we may need to address concerning city court, besides just this one issue. We have to have per our charter, and right now we have to have 2 judges per our charter. Now the thought is for just charter purposes, we would like to see just 1 judge, and then however many judges other than that would be by ordinance, which is easier to change. That's correct. So it gives and government a little more flexibility, and I guess it makes it a little bit more nimble and able to address situations that arise a little bit quicker than having to go through a charter.
That's Chip Henderson telling about a vote yesterday, 4-3 against making changes immediately in putting on the ballot for the voters the change of the city court from the charter, taking it out of the charter and giving it over to the council to control by ordinance in the code. In other words, shifting from charter to code. There is a distinct difference between those two documents, and city court is now in the charter, and it cannot be cut back very easily. And so the question has not been really the abolition of city court, which was what I kind of thought earlier. It's more about the paring back of that court because of less workload. This is David Toulis. You can read my story about the city council at Nuganomics.com. It takes a very hard line, you might say, about the business that took place. This was the main business, the city court, yesterday, but there is more that needs to be discussed, and I'm kind of writing about the expectations that I have for these men and women on the city council. I'm sort of making I'm creating desire for something. Okay, read what it is I'm creating desire for at Nuganomics.com. David Toulis here, the blogger with the biggest pen. That's my platform. Our chief sponsor here on the David Toulis Show every day. And want to make sure you tune in tomorrow to Marie Mott show at 11. We've got Sean Hannity in just a couple of minutes. The CBS News at the top of the hour, and every morning. Enjoy and prosper from Russ and Val, the twaddle-free newscast. It runs, no matter where you are in the morning and what time, you are going to hear Russ and Val with the news, the latest, freshest news, national state and local and even global, sometimes interstellar news as well. Russ and Val in the morning, twaddle-free news here. We are the talk station, sports galore with Sam Jordan and Keon Rose. And I was wanting to say something about traffic stops, and I'm getting flashed here that the time is running out. But in a traffic stop, the main question is, am I free to leave, officer? If he says no, then you are under arrest. And the thing to remember is that anything you say, show, give, or relate or hand to him will be used against him in court. And all of those things are concessions and admissions that maybe you don't want to make. So Marie talked about that today. She's don't know that she's going to talk about that tomorrow. She is our local broadcast journalist, Marie Mott, here at 11 tomorrow morning. Tune in to Marie Mott. David Tool is here, and subscribe to Nuganomics.com.
3, 2, 1.
Chattanooga Radio. Digital FM 95.3 HD4. 92.7 FM's news now.
A car crashed in Cohutta last night and a man from Cleveland runs out, according to local police. Reports say he was found hiding in a building in Tunnel Hill after he crashed his car on Old Dalton Highway. Inside